Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of AWI Pod, a work in progress. I'm your host, Brent Biles, and with me for our review of monthly pay per views and lots of other things, Jay Russell and Glenn Abbott's here with me. Glenn, how are you?
I'm very good, and I have to own up to this one. So anybody has objections at GA WrestleNut on Twitter, you can get me on there. Just don't DM me. You won't get, I won't answer your DM me, but any comments you feel like making about what you are about to witness, feel free to let me know on the old X Twitter.
I will say that when you picked this one, this was not one that I saw coming. So I mean, it was a bit of a surprise, that's for sure.
Well, we could blame William Regal for that. Yeah, I was watching an interview with him, and he mentioned Dave Taylor and this, and said it's possibly the worst thing that he's ever been in. So I thought we had to watch it.
Well, yeah. Anyway, so as we do, we pick one pay per view a month. Well, I pick one, then Glenn picks one. This one was Glenn's pick. He picked World War Three. I'll get to pick in October. Don't worry, I won't pick Halloween Havoc 1995. But yeah, so that's the one that we picked to review this week, and now you know why, Glenn. So we can blame William Regal, or Steven Regal, as he was known in WCW.
As he was saying. If you're part of this nonsense, you probably didn't realise how bad it was. But he says it's probably the worst wrestling on the network.
Yeah, I think you might have overstepped him. I mean, because this, I'll be honest, it's not that good, but it ain't that bad. There's much worse.
Oh, no, we've seen worse.
Oh, much worse.
We've seen worse in the WWF around this time.
Oh, in 95, easily. 100%. They had Mantar was wrestling in WCW.
Yeah, that. Don't let DC hear you say that. He loves Mantar.
Oh, I'm sorry. I of course he would. He seems like he's right up DC's alley.
Yeah.
For context, this is coming off the aforementioned Halloween Havoc 1995, which is probably 10 times worse than this show.
It definitely is. Yes.
We've watched that show in the archives, so if you want to hear us make fun of that, go ahead and go watch that. That, if you don't know, that is the one where the bog roll man shows up. If you don't know what bog roll is, that's toilet paper. We're over in
Yeah, that was one of the most disappointing parts of this show. That
he was.
They couldn't afford that amount of bog roll, so they dressed him up as a ninja.
Yeah, he looked like. Did you ever see the video game or the movie Mortal Kombat?
Yes. Yeah, that's exactly how he looked.
Giant scorpion.
It just didn't work. Being a mummy didn't work for the Yeti. Being a ninja worked even less.
Who would have guessed?
Anyway, we'll talk about him when we get to it. There's plenty to talk about in that match.
I mean,
what you can decipher from it.
Christ almighty. It's WCW World War Three from November the 26th of 1995. It is at the Norfolk Scope in Norfolk, Virginia. I mean, I'm sure everybody who watches wrestling's heard of the Norfolk Scope. So if you've never heard of the Norfolk Scope, if you remember the episode of Raw where DX goes to invade Nitro,
yes,
and everybody will tell you they drove a tank down there. It was not a fucking tank. It was just a regular fucking Jeep with like a cannon strapped to it. It was not a fucking tank. Don't let them tell you it was. They were at the WCW was at the Norfolk Scope, this arena, when DX came down there to fuck with them.
Just one little thing about that is I love the story that Kevin Nash tells about that him and Scott Hall were the other side of the door, killing themselves laughing when X-Pac was outside with the loud hailer.
Yeah, I'm sure they were saying, "Let him in. What are we doing here?"
Yeah.
Best hour of TV we've ever had. But yeah,
Yeah.
so that's the tagline for this show, Glenn. 60 men, 3 rings, 3 giants, 1 battle royal.
One big fuck up.
One big clusterfuck.
Yep.
What?
Anyway, just before we get into that,
Yeah.
there was a little football match on Sunday,
Oh fuck.
and I haven't really spoken to you since, apart from heard some comments online. Let's have your opinion on it.
So first of all, like the thing about Trussard getting sent off, like first I hear that they sent him off because of a reckless challenge, but then they change it to he kicked the ball away. And the commentators over here said that they heard in their ears what they hear from the VAR booth, that the VAR said that he was sent off for a reckless challenge. So that's what the people heard the VAR people say, but then they come back and tell me it was because he kicked the ball away. I didn't even know that he had kicked the fucking ball away because they'd whipped the yellow card out so quick that I thought it was just for the challenge. I didn't even know he kicked the fucking ball away. So it wasn't until like the game was over until I found out that he actually got sent off for kicking the ball away.
What annoys me is it's as though these guys that are making these decisions have never actually played football
or seen a game.
It's the heat of a moment of a major game like that, and just natural instinct is to kick the ball away.
Or to kick it down the field just to get something going. I mean,
yeah. So, yeah. But anyway, apart from that, and going back to this thing of playing against 12 men, is 99 minutes, was it, they actually scored?
Yeah, something like that, 97, something like that.
It was as though the referee hung on and hung on and hung on until...
I mean, I will say, in fairness, we did do a little, I wouldn't say like time wasting, but we were taking our time, and we did have a couple of injuries, so I wasn't surprised at how far the match went into. And then I thought we played great, and I know that there's a lot of people out there that go, oh, well, they didn't take any chances in the second half. You don't, when you are down to 10 men against a team like that, you don't take chances.
Away from home. What you don't do is you restrict them to how many shots on target. They had like 90% of possession, but only 4 shots on target in the second half. That's how well our defense worked.
And you could tell how frustrated they were by the way that they behaved when they scored and the way that they behaved after the match. I find it awful funny for a guy who throws the ball at the back of somebody's head when they're not looking will then tell somebody after the match to stay humble. Okay.
That's it. I know. I can't. They've done it in the past, and I can't understand why they can't do it now. Is go back and look at that retroactively and punish him for that, because that was reckless and it was dangerous. The guy wasn't even looking at him.
I mean, at this point, Glenn, I'm surprised they didn't give Gabby a yellow card for delaying the restart.
Yeah. For heading the ball away.
And it takes away from like everything about the game, because like you got the 2 best teams, and like the game up until that point was like a ragingly great football game, and then you completely ruin it for something that doesn't need to be done. And like, how about that goal by Calaflore? Oh my goodness.
I think we've got a keeper there.
Yeah, I think that's gonna work out for sure.
Yeah. He could play anywhere across that back line, and he's just sort of, considering it's his first full game, he's just sort of fitted in there with Gabby and Saliba, looking like they enjoy defending.
Yeah.
They celebrate every tackle and every interception like they've scored a goal, and then they go down the other end and score goals.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
right. And people are like, "Oh, I don't." The announcers over here were like, "Oh, I don't know if he was actually trying to score." And I think you can tell, like you can tell by a
He
reaction. Usually,
was.
when a guy doesn't mean to score, they have a different sort of reaction than
Yeah. No,
immediately going crazy.
he he knew exactly where that ball was going. He's
Yeah,
done that a lot of times before for other teams and in training, obviously.
yeah. No, I didn't think for a second that he wasn't going
Mm.
for goal when that came off his foot. I
No,
thought, yeah,
no,
that's the one.
that was never a cross. We've
Yeah,
seen we've seen Saka put in a few like crosses that have gone in, but that was never a cross.
or like that one where Ben White, I think against Chelsea last year, he tried
Mm.
to flip one in, and he ended up just putting it into the back of the net. And but the look on
Yeah,
his face, you could tell he was like, "I didn't think he was going to do
yeah. It's just everybody. Yeah, everybody was surprised, and nobody's more surprised than he was.
that." Yeah, I think you said to me, I don't know what you're talking about. That was Messi level.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, a great game. It's just unfortunate that it had to get ruined by a bad refing. And I don't care what anybody says. Um, I don't think it's a bad thing for a team to lean on their toughest on their best part of their game when they're down to
Well,
10 men. Our
I
best
say,
thing is our defense. So why wouldn't we
yeah,
lean on it?
exactly. There's a guy on Threads who put out a thread today, Arsenal supporter, and he's right what he said. When George Graham was in charge, they always moaned at us for being boring. 1-0 to the Arsenal. When Wenger was in charge, they always moaned about the fact that it was all foreigners and it was all showboating.
Yeah.
And now, because we're being successful again, they're moaning that we're being too tough. What is it? Dark arts, they're calling it.
Yeah, we're the portrayers of the dark.
We've got,
Yeah.
yeah, we've got the bloody managerial equivalent of Severus Snape. Of course, we're going to use the dark arts.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't think we were the first team to invent the dark arts, and I don't think
Oh God, no! Oh, believe me, I could go back to the 1960s with the lead scene. Without Manchester United in the 90s.
Yeah. Well, that was another thing too. They tried to say about what happened to Rodri, and that's not anybody's fault. Like him and Partey just came together with shoulders, and he hurt his ACL. I mean, that's not on Partey.
Yeah. No, he caught his studs in the grass. They said that.
Yeah.
On commentary over here. When they replayed it, they thought first of all it was Partey that had done it.
Yeah.
But then when they replayed it, they realised that all that happened was it was a coming together with the two, and he just caught his studs in the grass and it tweaked his knee.
Yeah, so that's not that one. I read like an article of The Athletic where they basically described it as like it was Partey's fault because Partey went knee to knee with him, and I'm like, that's not even close to what happened. So
No,
if you're gonna write an article about the match, maybe you should fucking
watch it. Yeah, that's it.
For fucking crying out loud.
Anywho, let's get on with this wrestling, shall we?
I am excited for the League Cup game tomorrow because I always like to watch games like that because I always like to see what's going to happen with the lineup, and I do want to see some of our younger, the young kids get out there and play. I think that'll be fun to see. So
yeah, we'll have Raheem Sterling running riot for us as well. So
yeah, like I said, I'd put a bunch of young kids out there. I'd put Sterling, and I'd put Jesus out there too because he needs to get some game time because he's been out for so long. So that's what I would do. But anyway, we'll talk about the wrestling.
There was 10 minutes of talking before it even started.
Yeah.
It's there's about a dozen commentators anyway.
Oh God.
Pundits and right, it kicks off all right because we've got Bobby the Brain Heenan and Grilla.
No, Tony Schiavone.
Tony Schiavone. Now they're a nice little bit of banter. That's no problem with that. But then they go straight to this bloody promo with Hulk Hogan and Sting and the Macho Man trying to cause a fire in the arena.
Yeah. Hulk Hogan dressed in all black, but
Yeah.
not yet Hollywood Hulk Hogan, which I was like, what the fuck is happening here? Yeah, so he rips the black stuff off, and they like start like a fire in like a garbage bin or something, and like the smoke is
Poor Stingy's trying to put it out with a bottle of water. And they're pleading, you can see they're pleading to people. Somebody get a fire extinguisher, come put this, pour with smoke. This is WCW, this, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's
and I also thought it was weird, like Hulk Hogan was holding that piece of paper, and he made reference to like dirt sheets and like the internet fans, and I'm like, it's fucking 1995.
Yeah.
What are we talking about?
Well, I think they just launched some sort of chat room or internet service, haven't they?
Yeah, it was like CompuServe, I think they said.
CompuServe, that's it. Yeah.
And I mean, people who
so they were trying to talk people into spending millions of pounds on a computer to get that.
To do a WCW chat room. Yeah, I mean, you could get online in 1995, but you had to like dial up on the internet, and it made that like. You could get phone calls.
Everybody knew you were online. I need to get online. I want to use the phone.
Yeah. My dad spent my entire teenage years on fucking AOL. I never could fucking call a girl.
No.
God damn it. They could never call me either. Not that they would have wanted to, but anyway.
That works out all right for you.
Yeah, eventually it did. Yeah, eventually it did. The first match of the evening is Johnny B. Bad defending the World Television title against Diamond Dallas Page. And apparently Kimberly's on the line as well.
Yes. Yeah. The services of the Diamond Doll are on the line. Now, considering, for what I remember this time with Johnny B. Bad, he was sort of androgynous about his sexuality.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a strange stipulation that he'd want the services. Although, to be fair to him, he did basically say, look, I don't want you, just do what you want to do. I'm just rescuing you.
That's what a good guy has to say. He's not saying that to Sable in 1998, I'll tell you that.
No, God, no. Well, Johnny B. Bad in 1995, Mark Merrow in 1998 are two totally different people.
I was going to say, you're right there.
And wrestlers. Because Johnny B. Bad is a decent wrestler. Mark Merrow certainly isn't.
Yeah, no. So they show, like, and basically, the thing is, Kimberly has put herself in this situation. Kimberly basically said, I'm going to put myself on the line in this match because she appears to be very sick of what's going on with Diamond Dallas Page.
Well, that's understandable. He's being the Mark Merrow type arsehole.
Yeah, he is. He definitely is. I mean, this was actually a pretty good match.
That's what I said. You had two decent wrestlers here. They had something to fight over. They had people invested, which could be said more than said about some of the matches on here.
Yeah, no, I definitely think the Kimberly stuff added to the match for sure. And it's funny, we were just talking about on the Good, the Bad, and Ugly, the Attitude Era show that we do about how we thought Johnny B. Bad was a good wrestler and could have entertaining matches, but we did not think that about Mark Merrow. And we actually saw that here. DDP, I think this is his second year in the business. He's approximately 46 years old, but this is his second year wrestling. And this is the time where he had like 10 gimmicks. He's got the cigar, he's got the sunglasses, he's got the jacket, he's all sparkly. He had about 20 gimmicks at this point.
Yeah. And he even had stolen Johnny B. Bad's confetti stick.
Oh, the Bad Blaster, yeah.
Yeah, the Bad Blaster, that thing.
Which is, I think he called I think he called something else the Bad Blaster too.
Probably. Perhaps that's why Kimberly put herself on the line.
That's when she heard about the Bad Blaster. Yep, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Here comes Johnny B. Bad. Okay, sorry. Yeah, this. I mean, these fought all over the place. They were fighting on the floor, in the ring.
Yeah. No, this for this time, this would stand as a match would have stood up today, and that's the best compliment you can pay it.
Diamond Dallas Page keeps doing moves, and he wants Kimberly to hold up the 10 sign, but she won't do it. But then Johnny does a few big moves, and she does hold up the 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it got a little bit boring toward the middle, but all in all, I thought it was a pretty good match. Johnny B. Bad gets the win with he does like a slingshot leg drop over the top rope there. I don't know what you call it. So he is the television champion and apparently gets Kimberly too. Pretty good match to start the show. After the match, they do a promo where Johnny B. Bad says Kimberly can do whatever she wants. She can think about it, but she doesn't have to be his manager. And yeah, she's going to think about what she wants to do with her life. And I'm going to ask you, you ever seen the movie The 40-Year-Old Virgin?
No.
Well, you're going to wonder why I asked you that. I'm going to tell you because Kimberly's in that movie. And
yes. I am. All right. Okay.
I'm just saying, if you haven't seen The 40-Year-Old Virgin, go out of your way with it. Not just for that. It's a funny movie. We had a bunch of promos between matches, but I didn't really make a whole lot of notes about the promos. I don't know if you did.
No, God, we would have been here for about 3 hours if we'd done that.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. It was like we'd have a 10-minute match and then 10-minute promos, and then a 10-minute match and then 10-minute promos. Yeah, this is where the shenanigans start. We get Big Bubba Rogers taking on Jim Duggan in a tape fist match, which can only be won by pinfall or knockout. These guys are taped all the way up to their elbows.
Yeah. And there looked like some stiff shots going in there.
And then Hacksaw comes out with his fucking 2x4 tied around him like
yeah, I know. I didn't use it. Didn't use it once.
I think he had tried to use it maybe, but they got like knocked out of his hands or something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe he couldn't hold it because of all the tape.
Yeah, probably. He couldn't even get his hand around it.
It reminded me, the way they were taped up, it reminded me of the Sticky Bandits from Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. Ridiculous.
There's not a lot you can say about this, really.
No, it was just too...
Yeah, there's not a lot you can say about this.
Just two guys beating each other.
If you were doing it on a star rating, it would be half a star.
That's generous.
Yeah.
Yes, for some reason, VK Wall Street makes his way down to the ring. If you don't know, that's IRS VK Wall Street. Because they're trying to make fun of Vincent Kennedy, Wall Street. Get it?
Yeah. To be fair, that's how the WWF were doing a knockoff of Ted Turner at that time. So I suppose it was all fair game, really. Yeah,
I forgot about Billionaire Ted's Wrestling War Room.
Yeah,
I am not a hillbilly, and I don't wear cheap suits.
Exactly.
Those are really funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, VK Wall Street comes down. He's got a chain. Somehow Big Rubba gets a hold of it. He hits Hacksaw and Jim Duggan in the face with it, which knocks Hacksaw out. And Big Bubba's the winner, but I don't think this is the end of that feud. And then we got an interesting tag team match. Now, Glenn, I am familiar with Bull McConnell, but I have no idea who the rest of these ladies are.
No, I hadn't either. I know you didn't enjoy it very much, but for the time, and I was sort of into through Dan booking different women and stuff from Japan. I was aware of women's Japanese wrestling, and they weren't as bad as I thought they were going to be when you said how bad you thought they were.
I just thought that they did a lot of cool high flying stuff, but a lot of it looked really soft and unbelievable. If you that's just trying to put Bull over as being the biggest beast in the ring, wasn't it? Really. Yeah, because that's I was familiar with Bull Nakano obviously because she wrestled in WWF in the 90s against Alundra Blaze, I think, in a few matches. And like I told you, I watched I think for the Apron Bump podcast, I think I watched Survivor Series 1995, and they had like they had like a Survivor Series women's match, and they had like eight Aja Kong was in it. Bull Nakano was in it, and they had a few other Asian ladies in it, and it was really hard hitting, and it was probably the best match on the show, other than the Bret Hart Diesel main event.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like what I expected from this when I saw it on the card. So maybe that's why, because I went into with
Oh yeah. I suppose the difference is all those women in that other match were from one promotion, where this was a cross promotion thing that obviously WCW had done on the cheap.
Right. And I think at this time is when they had just brought Medusa back, and she had thrown the WWF Women's Championship in the trash.
Yeah.
I think they were going to put an emphasis on the women's division in WCW, which I don't think they ever accomplished that, because I couldn't tell you any wrestlers besides Medusa and Bull Nakano that wrestled in WCW. Women's wrestlers, I have no idea.
No, they were definitely more eye candy than wrestlers. The rest of the girls.
I mean, which
even the WWF eye candy were trying a few wrestling moves.
I mean, fuck, they didn't even have any women wrestling in 1995. WWF didn't. Well,
No.
by November 95, I don't think they did.
No, that's right.
Anyway,
once Alundra Blaze went, there was that void until all the divas came along.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean it was a fine match, I guess. It was just a bit strange to me. I can't even pronounce the names of the people in the match, so I'm not going to try. To be honest with you, I could try to butcher them, but I'm not going to. One of them is Cutie Suzuki. So
yeah, that's it. Yeah, that was an easy one to remember. Cutie Suzuki.
I'm not making this up.
That was a child. She was a child compared to the other three.
Teenagers, for sure.
Yeah.
100%.
Which doesn't surprise me with Japanese wrestling. New Japan had the young boys.
Right.
And these women promotions had the young girls. So they would have sent them out on international duty just to get the experience.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, because that's what they do now. Is you train at a dojo, and then they send you on an excursion somewhere, and then you come back and you're a star. I mean, I remember back in the day when I first started watching New Japan, I remember Jay White being one of the young boys and toweling guys off and giving guys water, and then he left for like a year, and then he came back and he was the fucking leader of the Bullet Club, and now he's an AEW.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
So yeah, Team Bull got the win after a top rope leg drop. They're really pushing the WCW hotline. I thought it was funny that, look, I've already ordered this pay-per-view, but you still want $1.99 a minute from me.
Yeah, that's it. And they were teasing. It was using the old adage of the bait and switch. They were using that yet again to get people to ring the hotline to probably find out nothing.
So they could tell you that the results of the pay-per-view that you were already watching.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. The next match is Chris Benoit taking on Kinsei Sasaki for the United States Championship. They had apparently just put the Four Horsemen back together because Benoit the Four Horsemen with Flair, Arn Anderson, and Brian Pillman.
I just can't. I can't watch Chris Benoit without thinking how sad it is, especially him doing that head drop.
There was one too where he did like a dive outside the ring,
headbutt thing.
Yeah, there was one too where he did like a dive outside the ring, and I'm pretty sure he went headfirst into the guardrail. And I was like, ooh.
Being Chris Benoit, it just leaves a bit of a taste in the mouth, sadly.
I get it. Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was going to be better and more hard hitting than it was, and the fans nobody cared about this match. I mean, there was literally no reaction to anything they were doing. It got pretty boring toward the end for me, at least. Sasaki does win the match and retain the title with a brain buster. Yeah, this was just another match that when I saw
Of
what I was
course,
going to be watching, I thought it was going
it
to be
was,
better.
it's that thing. There was nothing for the crowd to get invested in.
Yeah, there was no story coming into this. It was just thrown together cold.
It seems like a lot of this pay-per-view, actually.
Well, the next two matches actually had some backstory to them, but I found
At
this funny.
least, yeah, at least just that we're building to the two decent matches. That's all.
Yeah. I thought it was funny. They had an
Which is
interview with the Dungeon of Doom. It's Jimmy Hart, the Giant, and Kevin Sullivan. And Mean Gene looks at the Giant and says, "Your father would be very disappointed in you," which I thought was really funny.
yeah, yeah, because they were trying to sell it that he was Andre's child, weren't they?
Yeah, he was Andre's son. Yeah, I mean, he wears a singlet. He's got to be a singlet with only one strap. He's got to be Andre's son, and he's really tall.
But he's a giant. Yeah.
He doesn't even look French. He says bullshit. I even heard him say "wee wee" one time. When I was 11, I bought it. I believed it. I thought for sure.
Yeah, and of course, R.I.P. to Kevin Sullivan. We get a nice little promo from him.
Yeah, yeah.
It's always nice to hear Kevin talk.
So the next match is Randy Savage taking on Lex Luger. Lex Luger recently joined the Dungeon of Doom, turned on Hogan and Savage at Halloween Havoc.
The rated R.
What'd you say?
This is his latest gimmick. They're calling him the rated R superstar, Lex Luger. Yeah. I suppose this is building towards a narcissist stage, but
he's left that behind, I think, by this point. But yeah, so he's got Jimmy Hart with him. Randy Savage has got a heavily bandaged right arm. But he pretty much just working Luger over.
Yeah,
for most of this match.
This was a squash match. This is why I enjoyed this. Watching old Potato Face being beaten up until the end when he goes and bloody wins it.
It's that damn Jimmy
Talk about having the wrong ending to a decent match. Can't mind his own business.
It was a short match. I think it was only like 4 or 5 minutes, but yeah, like Savage is beating him all around all three rings, and then he gets him in the ring. He hits an elbow, but then Jimmy Hart's got the ref distracted. Luger ends up. I can't even remember what he threw him into the guardrail, maybe.
Yeah.
Oh no, he threw him into the ring.
And they put him in the torture rack.
Yep, and then he put him in the torture rack, and then he just put him in the ring and put him into like a fucking arm bar or like a weird little arm thing. I don't even know what you call that.
Yeah, and the referee called it. He Savage had submit.
Yeah, I don't know if he was already out or what was about, but then Luger won't break the hold, so Sting comes running out, says something to Luger, which Luger then lets go.
Yeah, of course you've got the whitest of white meat, Sting, siding with trying to talk sense to the heelish of heels at this time, Luger.
Yeah, because like Sting's supposed to be with Savage and Hogan, but yet he's cool with Luger, even though Luger's in the Dungeon of Doom. That doesn't make any sense. That would be like if I was in the Blood, if I was in the Blood as well, and you were in the Crips, but yet we were friends. That wouldn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah. No, and we certainly wouldn't be fighting together. It doesn't. It's WCW down to the ground. It's
a good point, Glenn. We're yelling at a cloud at this point. I will say it was a bit of a lackluster match. It felt like they cut it because they needed more time for the battle royal or something.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, they had to get 60 men to the ring to start with. That took over 10 minutes.
Oh, good God. Yeah, we'll get to that. The next match, I think we can both probably agree that this was the best match of the night, right?
Yeah, Flair against Sting.
Yeah.
They don't have bad matches.
No.
I don't think I've seen a bad Flair. And this didn't. If anything, this was more brutal than some of the matches that they had earlier.
Yeah, the whole story behind this is at the time where, like, I don't remember if you remember this, but Flair and and Arn were having like a feud, and then they had a match at Fall Brawl '95 that Brian Pillman helped. Arn beat Rick, and then Pillman and Arn were kind of beating on Ric Flair, and then Flair was trying to get Sting to be his tag team partner, but Sting was reluctant to do it because of all the times Ric Flair just screwed him over before.
Yeah.
But then he finally agreed to be his tag team partner, and then of course Ric Flair screwed him over.
Turned on him. Yeah.
And so then I think they had a match on Nitro like the week before World War Three, where Sting put him in the Scorpion Deathlock, and he wouldn't let it go after the match was over. And so like the whole story behind this is like what happens if Sting gets him in the Scorpion Deathlock again? Is he going to let it go this time? So yeah, a really good backstory.
I'm glad you did more research on this than I did.
I just honestly, I don't know why, but I remember this vividly. I remember all of this stuff because I don't know why, but I was really into it when I was a kid, even though it's terrible now. I was all about it.
So this is fond memories rather than ardent research.
Yeah, basically, I didn't look any of that up. I just remember it from my mind.
I'm pleased to hear it.
I can't remember anything else in life, Glenn, but I can remember that shit.
It's like it is strange, isn't it? There's things that you can and you can't remember. Like you can reel off all the Royal Rumble winners from back in the day.
Yeah,
I couldn't.
Yeah, I get.
But
not only that, Glenn, I could tell you who came in number 1 and number 2, and I could tell you who the person that won throughout. Like, pick a year, Glenn. Pick a year of Royal Rumble. Go ahead, give me a year.
Well, let's go with 1995 then.
Okay, 1995, Shawn Michaels came in at number 1, Davey Boy Smith came in at number 2, and then ironically, Shawn Michaels threw Davey Boy Smith out to win.
Now, I remember that.
Yeah.
But only because you just told me.
Well, it has to do with Dave.
I remember that otherwise.
But yeah, so those are the sort of things I can remember. But anyway, what did you think about? I guess we talked about it. It was a really hard hitting. They literally fought in all 3 rings. Sting was beating Ric Flair from ring to ring.
I did. I love that. The first opportunity Rick could, he bowed the ring that they were supposed to be in and went in the other ring. And then the lights were trying to find them in the lights because they were trying to keep the other 2 rings dark. It's chaos. I think he did it deliberately.
One of my favorite spots in this is Flair chops Sting. Sting then grabs Ric Flair by his throat. The referee is trying to separate them, and Ric Flair just does a quick nut shot to Sting, and I just thought it was really good and really well timed.
Yeah, right under the referee's nose, and he pretended not to see it.
It was really, really good. I enjoyed that. It was some classic Flair. He works on the knee of Sting. He gets him in the figure 4, but Sting, he starts slapping Sting, which basically woke Sting up.
Yeah. And they did a really good job of selling that on commentary as well, saying, "Stop hitting him! All you're doing is making him mad."
Yeah. Yeah, and then so if Flair starts throwing out chops, Sting is no selling him. He eventually hits a superplex and then puts him in the Scorpion Deathlock. Flair gives up, and yes, Sting does release the hold.
And Sting wins.
And Sting is the winner. And now he's going to go be a tag team partner with Lex Luger, I guess, on Monday Nitro, because I said it 4 or 5 times. You're thinking about this 3-ring, 60-man over-the-top rope battle royal.
No, I wasn't. I was thinking about barbecue Korean pizza.
That does sound pretty goddamn good. Things that don't sound good, Glenn. Here, let me read to you a few of the names that are in this big battle.
Oh, please do. I've got the list of them, but I can't access it.
I don't have the full list, but I did pick out some names that I thought were interesting. Big Train Bart.
Yes.
The one and only Joey fucking Maggs, jumping fucking Joey Maggs. His mommy makes the best prosciutto. Max Muscles in this thing. Ricky Santana. You familiar with Ricky Santana?
Another jobber to the stars.
That's Tito's less successful brother, Ricky. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Pistol Pez Watley, who looked like that 1995 Pistol Pez Watley looks like he ate 1985 Pistol Pez Watley.
Yeah, it did.
We also had James Earl Wright.
Okay.
And last but not least of all these fun guys, Mike Winner. And spoiler alert, everybody, he did not win the Battle Royal.
There was a list of people that were never going to win this Battle Royal for the title.
Here's a list of people that never had a chance.
They might have won a battle. If it was an AWI pod Battle Royal, they may have won it. But this one they weren't going to win.
Joe and Joey Maggs has certainly been in the AWI Pod Rumble and should have probably won it. As well as the three giants, of course, Glenn. That's the Giant, the Yeti, and Hulk Hogan. And as we talked about, the Yeti is no longer a bog roll man. He is now a giant ninja.
What the heck?
All the Yetis were kung fu fighting.
Yeah. And talk about giving the short end of the stick. He's eliminated in about 2 minutes. Just what you want. And I don't think it was deliberate because he was still standing out there fighting people, although he'd been eliminated.
His big giant ass fell over the top rope.
Yeah, I'm sure it did. I don't think he was due to be eliminated at that point. I think he just lost balance and fell out of the ring. And that was probably the point that they realised how bad a wrestler he was.
They were like, you know what? Now that he's not wrapped in fucking shitty toilet paper, he doesn't look so good anymore. So not only do they have 3 different rings, but also have 3 different announce teams, one for every ring. And I also thought that it was hilarious that they felt the need to literally introduce every single person one by one.
Like I said, I clocked the time, and it was over 11 minutes to get everybody in that ring.
Why didn't they just tell us all the people, and then you put like the no-namers already in the ring, and then you announce the big name people so the crowd can get a big pop from the crowd?
Just yeah.
But I guess hindsight's 2020. But they also thought that a big fucking massive 3-ring 60 battle royal would be great for television.
That's
Another spoiler alert, ladies and gentlemen.
But no,
it's not.
Well, it says it all, doesn't it? When one of the talents actually in the ring. This match is the worst match of all time.
Okay, I won't say it's the worst match of all time, but it's up there. Yeah, but so this thing is a mess. They had 6 guys trying to call it. They kept throwing it to every single ring like every 2 minutes, which wasn't necessary. I think it would have been better if they just had one 3-man team to cover the whole thing.
It didn't work. Whoever's idea it was, it didn't work.
Yeah, I think that this was like trying to be their answer to the Royal Rumble, but
this shows what a good idea the Royal Rumble was as a battle royal.
The funny thing about this is they're going to do 2 more of these. They don't say after one. They don't think it's just a terrible idea.
No.
It looked like if you went to a club and you left at 3 a.m. and like a big mass of drunk, but like really drunk people started fighting each other in the street. That's what this would look like. Yeah,
that's it. That's what it looked like. Exactly. Yeah. I've been there. I've seen that.
And I'm not talking about people like drunk people who are successful at fighting. I'm talking about like lazy drunk people. Like, telegraph.
Just wait.
Yeah, that's what this was.
Wailing away and falling over and all sorts.
Yeah, that's the kind of what I'm talking about. And when I was in the 5th grade, I thought this might be the coolest thing ever. But as a 40-year-old man, not so much.
Anyway, let's get to the end of this nonsense. Because there's even nonsense at the end.
Yeah, the final 8 is Sting, Hogan, Flair, Arn Anderson, Lex Luger, the One Man Gang, and the Giant. Sting slingshots Anderson into Ric Flair, who's on the top rope, knocking him down, and then he tosses out Anderson. Sting and Luger are trying to throw out the Giant, but then Hogan comes out of nowhere and throws them all out. The ref is over dealing with Savage and the One Man Gang. So the Giant grabs Hogan's feet and pulls him under the bottom rope, which the ref sees none of this.
Yeah.
The ref sees Savage throws out the One Man Gang. The ref turns around. Savage is the only guy in the ring. Awards the match to Savage.
No way to win a title.
I mean, that's the way you win a title when you have Hulk Hogan involved in the match, and Hulk Hogan doesn't want to look like he lost. And I'm not saying that's what happened, but that's what looked like happened. It was kind of like a mixed reaction because some people did cheer when they announced the Macho Man and the winner, but there was a smattering of boos as well. So it was just an interesting response to it, I thought.
Yeah.
All in all, I would say that this pay-per-view gets one thumb in the middle.
Yeah, I was gonna say just one thumb in the middle from me too, and that's only and that's because of Sting and Ric Flair picked it off the ground.
Yeah, that was the only that was its only saving grace. That is absolutely correct. But yeah, that is it for World War Three. Glenn, who do you want to plug before we get out of here?
I'm booking the territory, doing the first and last of wrestling at the moment, doing their side project, unstacking the territory, looking at matches featuring either Giant Haystacks or Big Daddy, leading up to their big match at Wembley Arena in 1981, watched by 18 million viewers, believe it or not, the most watched wrestling match of all time. This last week, they had Big Daddy tagging with a young Dave Smith. He was only about 17 at this time when they were tagging together, and he didn't do a lot, Davey.
I don't know who that is.
And of course,
the Doctor Who podcast with Danny Inside. That's at SJP World Media.
Now, along with the volley and all sorts of other good stuff on SJP World Media, give them a looking on or a listening on. DDT Wrestling with DCN Doc. They're now recording on Mondays, but their shows don't drop to the end of the week, so give them a listen as well, please.
There you go. Give all those people a listen and a follow. Make sure you give a follow to the other member of our podcast team, the Mayor of Canton. He does a meal with the Mayor every Wednesday on the Twitter X machine, where he tries different fast food or blizzards or who knows what. Just tune in and you can find out. That's every Wednesday. Give him a follow anyway. And of course, make sure you check out Sports Wire Radio. Give our buddy Thomas Bryce a follow on all social media platforms. That is Thomas B. Rice. It spells just like it's spelled. I don't know what it smells like, but it's spelled just like it sounds.
Yeah.
I can't comment or speculate on the smell. I don't know. And check out the website. It's sportswireradio.org. That is sports with a Z.
It's got to smell like a sports locker room, hasn't it, really?
Oh, it smells like gym socks. Absolutely, it does. But if you ever had a teenage son, it smells like their room.
Gym socks and Vaseline. It's got to be.
Yeah, but yeah, make sure you check out Sports Wire Radio. Give our buddy Thomas Bryce a follow. That's it. Oh yeah, we'll actually be back with our regular show with the Mayor, watching Uncensored 1995 this week. So be on the lookout for that. That'll be out on Sunday. And we'll have a new episode of the Life and Times of Psycho Sid, where Sid will take on Bret Hart for the World Wrestling Federation Championship. So we'll see if Sid can get his championship back where it rightfully belongs. Tune into that on Friday and find out with us. That is it. That's all. Glenn, the only thing left to do is for you to say goodbye.
Goodbye.